What is the worst addiction? Heroin, IMO. That's solely based on my experience as a middle-aged person who has never used it, thankfully, but has been around people that have. I've known multiple people die from overdoses. One person I knew committed suicide cause he couldn't kick his habit and felt like there was no way out. I've known people who have ended up in jail, ended up ruining friendships, or ended up being disowned by their family because they've stolen money items to fund their addiction. The second worst, based on my experiences, would be gambling. No addiction to a drug or habit is worse than the next. It's all bad. But in IMO, alcohol is king when it comes to addiction. Highly available everywhere. It is the only drug where you can die from withdrawal symptoms. It destroys the body horribly, not to mention your liver, and can also bankrupt you and ruin your family life. It's also the #1 substance that leads to violent outcomes like domestic violence or deadly fatalities caused by doers. Moreover, it severely impairs inhibitions unlike most other substances. Absolutely choosing any addiction is like boarding the Titanic. You're heading towards disaster. Each cabin may look different, but we're all sinking. I've been through the depths of addiction, from alcohol to everything else, and it's all the same hell born from inner pain. Sober for a decade now, I know the struggle. Respect to all in recovery. It's the same psychological battle, just different symptoms. Politics or philosophy, neither is grounded in reality and cause mental anguish and frustration when reality smacks the rigid principles of either in the face. Philosophy politics is to real life as masturbation is to sex. Karl Marx, which is ironic as fuck because he wrote a book that was not even remotely grounded in reality about a political philosophy that makes jack shit of sense. Ex-social worker, I worked with clients with substance dependency issues. The answer is meth in any region where the supply is posing with fentanyl. Meth alone will fuck up your life. It's even worse when you're also addicted to an opioid without knowing it. Program I worked for lost 6 clients in 4 months to a poison drug supply. Personally, nicotine. I gave up other things fine like alcohol, but nicotine remains my vice. Socially, heroin, morphine, or other strong opiates. Crazy to watch people I knew devote their entire existence to the acquiring of more. But then I've seen similar with amphetamines to so hard to narrow it down to what's the worst. Alcohol is among the worst and especially terrible because it is not widely recognized as such. If you're out there recovering, I'm sorry, it's a effing battle. It's not a character flaw. It's one tire's time. Keep at it, you are worth it. And I am not an alcoholic, or even close. Anyone who's loved someone deep into it knows. Sugar. The reason why it's so sly is addiction to sugar is the equivalent of Koreans being racist. They have no idea they're being racist caused to them is just custom, whereas sugar addiction doesn't even ever seem to trigger cravings. You never realize you have a sugar addiction until it starts its impact. And it is often too late. Benzodiazepines, alcohol is up there too. These 2 substances are the only ones that can kill you from withdrawal. Benzos are worse though because alcohol detox isn't too bad if using benzos to help get off. You can't take anything that will significantly help benzo withdrawal. It is pure hell. Food. Think about it, you can live without drugs and alcohol and gambling. But you need food to exist. It would be the hardest addiction to beat, because you can't just stop eating, you have to rewire your brain to know when to stop and cut down and to change eating habits altogether. The worst addiction is the kind where no matter how many you buy, and how much money you spend, you wake up with nothing to show for it. And less than you had the day before. Empties everywhere and your TV is gone. And who the fuck is that? And that's not even that bad times. Anything could be an addiction, so I'd say maybe something like sniffing mustard gas for fun, or maybe being addicted to cutting yourself, or just something too directly harmful. And speeding, yes, people are addicted to speeding. I would say all addictions can be quite destructive and tragic. I would throw in porn or sex addiction. It can lead to incredibly dark and evil choices that destroy lives and wreak havoc on those in its path. And a very strange and concerning conversation I read in here. The feeling of loving watching other people be destroyed emotionally and long-term. Bonus satisfaction if you had something to do with it. I'm in sober living right now with a bunch of addicts. Most deadly is fentanyl opiates. Hardest to quit is nicotine. Most damaging to your health and the lives of other people is alcohol, meth. Known to many folks who went through that and had all varying degrees of getting fucked up by it. One girl would scratch her face and had claw marks all over her cheeks. Schedule 1 or 2 drugs. Accept weed, it'll destroy your life. You lose everything. You ruin your health. Become homeless. And end up stealing from anyone and everyone. The worst addiction depends on which addiction one has. Whatever you're battling, I wish luck, strength, comfort. I'm rooting for you with all the love in my heart. I've endured 100x the amount of traumatic abuse from alcoholics than I have for any other substance or behaviorally abusive individual. In going with alcohol, food, because you can never just quit drinking alcohol. You can stop doing drugs. You can stop gambling. But you never just stop eating. Decamorphine crocodile is a highly addictive opioid painkiller that as a fun side effect rots your tissue and organs from the inside out. Porn and drugs. Agree with everyone here, speed is the worst, especially meth. I let my Adderall prescription ruin 2 years of my life easy. As an addict heroin, I would say gambling, followed by alcohol. Being a junkie is also very hard knock. Makes life interesting though. I used to be addicted to eating but I'm clean now. Sadly I just replaced it with drinking brake fluid. But I can stop anytime I want. Gambling, drugs, drinking. For some it's a lifestyle. Sadly I know all too well. The fastest way to destroy your life. 1 year clean. TCP and its analogs. I've never seen something destroy someone so fast, and I've known a lot of drug addicts and used to be one. Eating disorders like anorexia are some of the most intense addictions. It really destroys a person's health long term. Veganism. It consumes their whole life. It's all they think or speak about, and you watch them waste away, truly sad. I live in San Francisco and can confirm meth and fentanyl. Anyone saying anything else hasn't seen what I've seen. Nicotine. I know it seems innocent enough when compared to heroin addict. But fuck, it's an unbelievable bitch to get off. Honestly, it's jerking off. You do it too much and lose motivation to do anything else. I'm not gonna stop though. Opioids, it's scary how little it takes to get you addicted, and withdrawals is 100x worse than quitting smoking. The addiction of trying to make everyone happy and being sucked into toxic situations thinking you can help. I've dealt with alcohol, nicotine, and weed in my life. But I'm grateful I've never even been around heroin. Trauma bonding. And yet it is widely and wildly unknown. For some it's worse. And even any drug addiction. Food, you can't abstain. It's like being an alcoholic, but you still have to have a few drinks every day. Food, probably. Most addictions you can at least try and remove from your life. You have to have food. Alcohol, legal, socially acceptable, reasonably cheap, and insanely destructive on almost every level. For an individual person, heroin. But in terms of affecting other people, either gambling or alcohol, the way meth affects your brain can make it even harder to get off of than other drugs. The worst addiction is the one that dominates a person's life and affects them adversely. Opioids. I've never been addicted, but I do unfortunately have a lot of experience with it. Chewing tobacco is one of the grossest legal things a passenger can do in your car. Sex addiction. Nothing is ever enough, and it encourages sadists and pedophiles. Any addiction is the worst addiction. Depends on how much you'll lose for it. Probably murder, sex crimes, heroin, hard drugs, gambling, alcoholism. Self-harm. I don't think people realize that it can be crazy addictive. Porn. I'd quite not classified as an addiction. but it can ruin men. Opiate addiction is horrible. I would not wish it on my worst enemy. Read it. I swear the amount of garbage on this platform is absurd. Polytox. Having to fight multiple addictions at once is the worst. Marijuana addiction killed my father and messed up my best friend. Food. You still have to eat. So it's not like you can avoid it. Let's get a new question, guys. This is asked like every 3 days. Gambling. It would destroy your life and your family's life. Food is the absolute worst. You have to consume it to live. To ones like settled in our society like normal activities. Control. Jokes on them because nobody has control. Alcohol. Alcohol withdrawal can literally kill you.